Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be, for the second time, turning my hate comments, into book recommendations for you. I have made one video like this in the past, which I really had a lot of fun with, and also at the same time allowed me to transform some hate into some love with some book recs, so I wanted to do it again 3 years later. I think it's been 3 years around about since I posted the last hate comments recommendation, but we're here. I've handpicked some of the bad comments that I've received on my YouTube channel, which is just inevitable when you're online. Yeah, to be honest, it doesn't really bother me anymore. Most hate comments don't bother me anymore. None of the ones in this video actually bother me at all. How this works is very self-explanatory. I'm just gonna read you out one of the lovely comments that I've received on a video, and then I'm going to recommend you a book based on that comment too. This has given us quite the interesting weird pile of books to get through in this video, but I'm really excited about them. So now YouTube as well has a feature actually for creators that lets you select hurtful remarks, so you can purposely search for hurtful remarks. I don't know why you would want to do that. I think that's an awful feature. Get rid of it. Anyway, welcome aboard. Let's get into it. The last time I posted this video, I got a lot of apologies, actually. I got people apologizing to me. I had people send me like DMs and stuff being like, I'm so sorry for what I said. So the first comment, this one appeared on a video after I cut my hair off. Some of these are really old, but this one I know was posted after I chopped my hair off, like quite short, probably to my chin. I received so many comments from men who were so outraged that I had cut my hair off. I think this one probably encapsulates them all. This comment is from Daniel. Hey, welcome back. And Daniel said, good grief. Good grief. All I can hear is like the Charlie Brown voice. Good grief. What's next? Inane jailhouse tats? Oh well, mostly the voice anyway. I don't have to look. This one is wild. What were you thinking? I cut my hair, and what is next? Inane jailhouse tattoos? Jailhouse tattoos. The path of logic that you're operating on is just entirely insane. In Daniel's mind, I go to get a haircut. Obviously, the next logical thing to do is commit a crime, get put in prison, and get inked up with clandestine marks potentially signifying gang affiliation. After that, I'm gonna start doing hard drugs. I'm gonna rob a bank or two, and I'm just gonna descend into all the levels of unspeakable debauchery. All for my haircut. Just be careful, guys. Like, your hairdresser can really send you down a path you didn't know you were going down. I feel like when I get comments like this, it's really not too much of a stretch. It's really not hard to imagine how the witch trials happened. The fact that like you're a grown person commenting on someone's appearance, I just feel like we did not all get the same memo growing up, but that's okay. Mostly the voice anyway. I don't have to look. It's actually hilarious to me, the concept of someone disliking my haircut so much that when they click on one of my videos, they actually have to close their eyes because they can't look at me. And they just have to sit there listening. Like Daniel just has to sit there listening because he can't stand the sight of my haircut. That's actually hilarious to me. Thank you, Daniel. Might I recommend? This book has some really great quotes. You may whine because you want attention. You may want your parents to notice you. You may need to have them spend some time with you. But whining will not get you the kind of attention you want or need. The recommendation for this comment that I'm going to give to you is a book called Regrettably, I'm About to Cause Trouble by Amie McNee. I love this. This is so fun, and I feel like this fits the comments perfectly. Regrettably, I'm About to Cause Trouble is set in 1535. Stay with me. We follow this young woman named Maud. It is so funny. I love Maudlin's character voice. I just love her to bits and pieces, but she is about to get married. She's kind of raised in a well-to-do noble family in the Tudor time period, and because she's a noblewoman, she is just expected to get married and have babies and do all that. Her parents are really hoping to get her married off as quickly as possible because Maud was born with a birthmark on like her inner thigh, kind of like down there in like a very scandalous area. She has this huge birthmark, and people are going to think, especially her future husband, is going to think it's a sign of witchcraft. It's a mark of the devil. Maudlin may not have jailhouse tats, which is a sentence I feel like I can hear my grandma saying, but she does have a terrible birthmark on her thigh. So what happens when her husband finds this out? What happens when he wants to get a divorce, when all of this stuff is going so terribly wrong in her life, when she's been brought up to believe all these things about herself, about her place in society, about her place as a woman? What happens when she decides, F it, I am just gonna go join the witches I'm just gonna go join the outcasts of our town and go and be with them, work with them, learn a whole new life. Obviously not without difficulties. I think Regrettably, I Am About to Cause Trouble is such a realistic look at a woman who's brought up with all of these beliefs about other women as well, the way that she treats other women, and then realistically having to dismantle them. It's not pretty, it's not straightforward, it's not linear, but it's so raw and it's so funny. It's so funny. Like, Maud's voice is so frank and just telling it how it is. Mostly the voice anyway comment, like Maud does actually learn to use her voice in this book to help other people. She learns that it's not all about her appearance or the way she looks. It's about what's on the inside, Daniel. It's about what's on the inside. And she just kind of finds herself, which is so nice. When I cut my hair, I really, like, cut it as short as it had ever been. I just felt the most me I had ever been. I am planning to do it again, okay? Whoa, warning to Daniel and anyone else who's watching. You're gonna have to watch blindfolded soon because this is getting the chip chop very shortly. Once it's like long enough to donate, I'm gonna go get that chopped off again. I just felt the most me I ever felt. I'd felt the most free I'd ever felt to be myself, because it's just so nice when there's nothing left to hide behind anymore. I can't say the same for you because you've got your keyboard there, but you know. Maud says, I thought I had lost everything. I thought I was being stripped of everything that made me. I had just been deprived of my masks. I had been left with only myself. Yeah, just very interesting that when I cut my hair, or anytime I cut a considerable length of hair off on my channel, I always get comments from gentlemen who are quite concerned for my secret criminal life, apparently, but they also perceive it as kind of dangerous. We're just getting warmed up. We've got worse coming down the line. This next comment is from Hey There. I can't even really be too mad about this comment because, to be honest, it's kind of, a lot of the times it's what I'm thinking about myself. So like, yeah, it's fair. That's fair. This is a fair one. Hey There said, holy shit, shut the f up. You talk too much. Holy shit. I do sympathize with you a little bit. I feel like this is exactly what I'm thinking in my mind when I'm editing videos. A lot of the time it's just like, holy shut the, please come on. I leave so much of my videos on the cutting floor because I do talk a lot. But also, have you looked around? Did you like read the sign on the door when you came in? Do you know where you are? This is my book channel where like the whole purpose of the channel is to talk about books. Yeah, I don't know where you think you are. I think maybe you got a little lost because this is just Yap Central Station about novels and books and literature most of the time. So this one is also really funny to me because I think just knowing the kind of person I am in my own life, probably any people that I know in real life would be like, Emma, like, please, dear God, talk more. Like, please just like say something. In my real life, I am very quiet and I really hardly speak at all, to be honest. So this is kind of the one place I let myself just blab about books and talk with you guys about that, which is really nice. The recommendation I'm going to give to you, however, for this comment, if you think that I talk too much, I highly doubt you're going to be able to get through the book that I'm going to recommend to you for this comment. This was definitely also a thought I had while reading this book and going through this book. It's Middlemarch by George Eliot. This is quite a long tome. And lots of people do be talking their heads off in this one. My copy is it's almost 900 pages. Yeah, it's almost 900 pages. I'm not gonna lie, I really struggled with Middlemarch. I really found a lot of this to be a slog, but I think it's because at the time that I was reading it, I wasn't really in the mood for it. Whereas if I picked it up now, I am in the mood for big, long books. Like, I am in the mood for the biggest books of all time, so I think I would like it a lot more. But George Eliot writes about this town, and she just wants to chronicle. It's a huge work of history as well. It's so good to get context and info and get the lowdown on what everyone was doing back then. But she wants to chronicle everyone in the small town, from the highest position to the farmers work in the field. She wants to create a clear, wonderful, realist picture of what is going on. We do follow 2 disastrous marriages in here. The main one, I feel like that I'll just introduce you to a little bit. Her name is Dorothy. She thinks she's doing herself a great service because she's incredibly intelligent, but she wants to marry someone who can be a little bit of a mentor to her and a teacher and teach her different things about the world. She wants to help someone in a great work, and so she thinks she's making the right choice in marrying this much older gentleman named Mr. Casaubon. I don't think I've ever said his name right, to be honest. I just call him Mr. Cinnabon in my head. So she marries him because he is working on like his magnum opus, which is this huge work that he's writing. It's gonna like change history, change academia, change scholarship. And Dorothy is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm like so honored to work with this guy who like cannot stop talking about this huge amazing thing he's gonna do for society and for history, and it's taking him so long, and I'm gonna be like his little secretary and help her with this, and it's gonna be amazing, and I need to have a husband who is like smarter than me. She slowly finds out this guy's just full of air. Like, he's just talking, he's just one long big puff. So pompous, so arrogant and full of himself and incredibly vain, and thinks what he's doing is of the utmost importance when really he's not. There are some choice quotes in here which I think are great for probably all these people commenting. I'm sorry. A prig is a fellow who is always making you a present of his opinions. Character is not cut in marble. It is not something solid and unalterable. It is something living and changing and may become diseased as our bodies do. Such a good time if you're craving to sink your teeth into something slow and a bit monotonous, but also I think ultimately so worth it. The back two, what do we live for if it is not to make life less difficult to each other? This next one, I don't know what video this was left on. This next one just says, can anyone help her? A real job would do. Dusting, mopping, the dishes, a case study in getting lost. You wound me, Edwards. I think this is from someone named Edward. I do have to say it is very disheartening and alarming, although this comment is not particularly, I mean, this is pretty tame, let's be honest, but the amount of sexist comments and misogynist comments I see, not only on my stuff, but across the internet at large, it does honestly seem to be getting worse, especially with my generation and especially younger than me as well, which is concerning. Ironically, this is also why reading is so important. What am I doing, Edward? I'm not selling crack cocaine, bud. Does that qualify as a real job to you? What is a real job? A real job would do dusting, mopping the dishes. I guess you're suggesting that dusting, mopping, and doing the dishes are real acceptable jobs for myself, which is also kind of ridiculous because in my videos quite often I show myself cleaning, literally cleaning. I find cleaning a very calming thing. I really like inserting it into my vlogs. I love watching vlogs of other people cleaning. I think it's so calming, it's so satisfying, and it's just like a whole vibe. I really enjoy it. I already dust, mop, and do the dishes on top of everything else I'm doing. You think I'm a case study in getting lost? Okay. When am I lost from exactly? The 9 to 5 corporate grind set? Oh no. I think this is a comment I get infrequently, but enough of them, of people being like, so what do you do for your real job? Or like, what are you actually gonna do? Or Edward being like, can someone help her? Like a real job would do for her, instead of, I guess, talking about books online. I've managed to make this my job, at least for right now. So I don't know what the problem is. The book that I'm going to recommend for this one, just because this is like absolutely laced and tainted with, what is that flavor? That would be the misogyny. I'm gonna recommend to you The Awakening by good old Kate, because you need to wake up, dude. This one is set in Louisiana in the late 1800s, and we follow this woman named Edna, who has basically done everything correctly that society has told her to do. Marry, you know, she has a husband, she has children, she's living this life, but she is so flippin' constricted and corseted into this life that she can find no meaning in, no joy in, and ultimately no purpose in. Although, even though this life has been prescribed to her as the ultimate purpose that she should attain, she's doing everything she should be doing as a woman, but she is increasingly restless, unhappy. She wants to do so much more. She wants to find out what she can be. And so when she starts like tiptoeing out of the confines of her marriage and of her motherhood, society is like, oh, she's stepping outside the box, and is like, I can't go back there. I can't go back in there. I've seen what is possible for me, as little as it is, and I need to go and see what else is out there and face the consequences of that, basically. It aroused, as you can imagine, so much controversy when it was published that it ended Kate's career. She didn't publish another novel after this, and she passed away without this being, you know, popular or a classic or anyone, too many people having read it at least. But it is so good. The language is really beautiful. It's very sensuous, and it's set in the heat of summer, so I recommend reading it in the summertime. It's basically censored for just telling it like it is and painting motherhood as the trap that it often can be and often was for women like Edna. Edna's husband added, looking at his wife as one looks at a valuable piece of personal property which has suffered some damage. The comment that Edward left would definitely be the same comment that he would write about Edna, like to a T, and that so many people were writing about Edna and about this book in general. Can anyone help her? A case study in getting lost. If I'm lost, dude, don't find me. Don't come find me. I don't want to be found. Leave me alone. In society's view, of course, Edna is hopelessly lost, but she's also lost inside herself because she's dealing with all this and she has no one to talk to about it. There's one other like exile outcast figure who made the same decision that Edna did, and she's the only one she can talk about this stuff with, and she's just so alone. There's so much solitude in this book as well, because people weren't talking about these issues. Tough subject matter, so worth it, so beautiful, and also, yeah, cooking and cleaning and like taking care of the house and stuff. Obviously, those are like real jobs as well, but they're not the only jobs. But it's so bizarre to me that I'm sitting here still reading comments like these. Let's move on to a comment that I just thought was like funny. This one is from Mike, and Mike said, unpleasant and blatant wearing of fabrics that should only be used for curtains within this video. Which, like, in all fairness, I thought this was a joke, but I'm not, like, I've never been very good at telling or knowing when people are like mocking me and for real or teasing me for real, because when I went back to look at this comment, I saw that a couple of you had like left comments below defending me, which is so nice. Someone said, hey, leave our Emma alone, she can wear what she likes. And then someone else said, what's up with all these random dudes leaving weird psychotic comments? Please get out of your basement and mind your own life. You guys are so nice. You guys are so nice. Thank you so much. First of all, I like the review style. I feel like a hotel that you're leaving a little review for or a little comment on, like disgusting stains on the floor, uncomfortable mattress, and uncomfortable paintings on the wall. Don't stay here. I don't actually know what I was wearing in this video that you commented this on, so I do want to see if I even agree with you that I just look like a big curtain. Okay, so we have this dress. I feel like it's not this dress you mean. I love this dress, so it feels very 70s to me. I'm sorry my fashion sense offended you so much. However, I am going to recommend to you a title that I think can probably be used to describe a lot of the people who have commented so far. American Psycho by Bret, Easton, Ellis, because I feel like a lot of y'all are American Psychos. I can so easily read this comment in Patrick Bateman's voice. Unpleasant and blatant wearing of fabrics that should only be used for curtains. I just feel like this is the exact kind of comment that would lend itself to the type of sentences that are in American Psycho. This is about Patrick Bateman, who's working on Wall Street. He's young, he's incredibly shallow, his world is incredibly shallow, therefore he is just kind of a product of where he is, his culture, all of that, but he is so concerned with the way he looks, what he's wearing. A lot of the sentences in American Psycho are basically just like list form, because all that matters in Patrick's world is possession and buying things, consuming things. The consumerism in American Psycho is insane, and you are judged based off of how much money you have, obviously, what you're wearing. This book is very concerned with listing everyone's clothing. And basically every scene we get introduced to the person by what they have consumed, what they have bought. And obviously if you're not wearing the right thing, if you're not keeping up with appearances, if you're not just sinking into the morass of capitalism with everyone else, you are out of the club. You're not making reservations at the Dorsia. What are you doing with your life? I did actually walk by the Dorsia in Montreal, and I just had my own little American Psycho moment. I was walking on the sidewalk, passing by the restaurant. All of a sudden this limo pulls up. About 10 guys come out, and they all just like stop right in front of me. They like are completely ignoring the fact that I even exist at all, and I'm walking on the sidewalk trying to get around them, and they form this like semicircle outside of the restaurant, spilling onto the sidewalk and onto the road, just completely ignoring me, bumping into me, wearing the kind of crap that Patrick Bateman is so concerned with in here, and just like completely, I'm just like, you are literally embodying what Bret, Easton, Ellis is trying to make fun of you for and critique you about. The book is definitely a critique on consumerism's, capitalism's shallow views, such like judging people for what they're wearing. In a culture like his, individuality is not prized, it is stamped out. I feel like I took this comment too far. I really think it was a joke. Next comment from Sue is pretty mean, Sue. There was a bee in your bonnet this day. Sue wrote in response, I think, to me, I guess, tripping over my words a couple times in a video, which, you know, we're all human. Sue decided it was a good idea to take time, valuable time, to try to tear someone else down and write unfriendly reminder. Unfriendly reminder. Whew. Unfriendly reminder. We're starting off hostile. Unfriendly reminder that you can edit out the parts where you can't even speak like a normal human being, though still chose to film. Instead of looking like an idiot yourself. That you can edit out the parts where you can't even speak like a normal human being instead of looking like an idiot. Okay, so this was really triggering for you. Slipping up with my words, not being able to speak properly. I feel like there's some deep-seated stuff there. Maybe you were made fun of as a child for saying things incorrectly, tripping over your words a lot. I just feel like this really brought up some dark feelings for you. I'm sensing some deep-seated perfectionism and a fear of making mistakes. Are you okay? I just want you to know it's okay. I really do mean that, because this did not affect me in any way, shape, or form, because I don't care really about looking like an idiot anymore. I really don't mind looking like an idiot. I think humanity's probably most natural form or state of being is just plain idiocy. So I'm here, you're here, we're all here. However, big advice, if you are starting a YouTube channel, booktube channel, whatever in general, don't be afraid of looking like an idiot. And I think just in anything, right? That's bigger life advice. Don't be afraid of looking like an idiot. You're gonna look like an idiot. And it doesn't matter, especially in love, okay? Don't be afraid of looking like an idiot in love. It's gonna happen, and you're just gonna have to look like an idiot and bear it. I guess when I tripped over my words, I think this was maybe in my worst books video, because I remember tripping up my words a lot in that because I was sick that day and just not feeling great. I think I remember saying I dill stew instead of I still do, which I thought was funny. I personally think it's hilarious when someone mixes up their words. I love to like repeat that mix up, and it really does make me giggle. So that's why I left it in, because I thought people would find it funny as well. But I think any normal human being probably trips up their words quite a fair number of times, so it's okay. It's okay. Mistakes are part of the progress. Yeah, I meant to say process, but I said progress, because mistakes are part of the progress. First recommendation that actually like my brain just immediately went to is a poem. I am going to recommend a longer piece, but I just thought it was kind of perfect for this, because I want to recommend the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. This comment just made me immediately think of that, because the speaker in the love song is just so incredibly self-conscious of what other people think of him. He's so incredibly wrapped up in his own brain, in what other people might be thinking of. Like, he's projecting so much onto other people, what they might be saying about him, if they might be like, I don't know, saying anything about him. He's so concerned about it, and he does not want to look like an idiot at all costs. There's a lot going on in that poem, but for some reason this just made me think of that. However, the longer work I'm going to recommend is a novella, and I'm going to recommend Story of Your Life by Ted Chiang. The movie Arrival, which I actually just watched for the first time this month, is based off of this novella. So in Story of Your Life, aliens come to Earth. And we have a linguist like who's top of her field, and she is basically hired by the US Army to figure out why the aliens are here. Like, she needs to communicate with them, figure out their language, teach the aliens our language, and it's a wonderful, beautiful study of language and how tricky it is and how tipsy-turvy and how hard it is to learn and communicate, and can you ever say anything really truly to another person, especially in terms of translation. With the aliens, she finds out that their language is quite free, meaning it literally has free word order. For example, a language like Latin, where a lot of times it really doesn't matter where you place the words in the sentence, it's still going to mean the same thing, whereas with English, that doesn't really work that well. And the aliens' language is ultimately seismographic, which means that there's no reference at all. It has no reference at all to spoken word. So much about language there, but also the pitfalls of language, so much of our assumptions about each other, so much of what we read into when we hear each other's words, and also a lot of like censoring. I censor so much of myself already, both in terms of like just my real life, but also my online life. I stop myself from saying so many things. I cut out so many sections of things that I've said, and so if it's something as like banal as tripping over a word, I'm just gonna leave that in because I already censor so much of myself. Story of Your Life by Ted Chiang ultimately asks, like, if you were given the opportunity to see your whole entire life played out in front of you, and you could see the mistakes, the errors that you made, would you still live it? Like, would you still, accept it and go through with it? Would you edit those faults out, or would you choose to accept them, love them, and live your life anyway? I wouldn't have learned my language in the first place if I stopped talking every time I made an error in speech. And honestly, if the person who wrote this comment is feeling the pressure to edit themselves or to raise themselves to some very high standard, I hope they realize it's okay. We're gonna make mistakes, like leaving intentionally hurtful comments on someone's video. Let's just go through this one really quickly because this one is just stupid. This comment just says, women reading, lol. Women reading, lol. Women reading, laugh out loud. Why don't we just start by talking about laughter? There's a neuroscientist, Ramachandran, who explored laughter in his book called A Brief Tour of Human Consciousness. He proposes that laughter first appeared in human history to indicate to those around us that whatever made us laugh wasn't a threat or worth worrying about. However, other research has found that nervous laughter may be a defense mechanism against emotions that may make us feel uncomfortable. Did I scare you? I'm so sorry. Am I making you uncomfortable right now by reading? Was that a nervous chuckle I detected? There's a really excellent article in The Guardian from 2019 about women reading. I just want to read this little snippet because there is something about the female bookworm, face obscured by a novel, hidden within plain sight, possibly pondering the bigger questions of life, possibly fantasizing, that can serve as an affront. The onus has long been on women to facilitate easy human relations, and lone reading is an occupation that is not compatible with the social self. Surveys show that women account for 80% of book sales in the UK, US, and Canadian fiction markets. Far more women than men are literary festival goers, library members, audiobook readers, literary bloggers, and members of literary societies and evening classes. It is also for the most part women who teach children to read, both at school and at home, and women who form book clubs. If you mean women reading, LOL, as in, haha, LOL, women reading, yeah right, like yeah right they do. Pull up the stats. Look around where you are. I feel like BookTube is still predominantly mostly filled with women creating. The recommendation that I'm going to give to you is The Laugh of the Medusa. This is an essay. She is a wonderful second wave feminist writer, and this is all about how, yes, women reading, but women must write. Like, women need to write. Woman must write herself, must write about women, and bring women to writing, from which they have been driven as violently as from their bodies. So this is just like imploring other women around her to write themselves, insert themselves into the text, bring themselves to the table, bring themselves to the conversation, write their own conversations, and basically just like, please, dear God, like write anything from your point of view, write your reality, write your body, because it's been so silenced. Censor the body and you censor breath and speech at the same time. Writing is for you. You are for you. Your body is yours. Take it. When you say women reading, LOL, I don't really hear mocking laughter. I hear a little bit of nervous laughter there. It's okay. You'll be fine. This next one, someone named Mikey. Man, if you are just enjoying something, it's always gonna be some man named Mike coming along to get you down. Someone took offense to a video title, I guess, where I talked about reading big classics for the year. I think the video was called The Year of Reading Chunky Classics or something like that. Mikey got all up in arms about it and wrote, chonky, vulgar, lacking in erudition, pure ghetto? If you mean chunky, then write that. If you mean chunky, then write that. Okay, but I didn't mean chunky. I meant chonky. Chonky is a word. It's in the dictionary. Look it up. The actual first known use of chonky, according to one of the dictionaries, was in 2004. But yeah, I didn't mean chunky. I meant chonky. Like, that's the beautiful thing about language, is that the internet has decided to create this whole new word for something we didn't have before. and it's great, and that's the whole point of language. Suddenly chonky has this whole new context, a new flavor, full of cats, because chonky, I think, was first, I don't know, started first to be used in regards to fat cats. Like, they would call cats chunky, you know, you just call your fat cat chunky, and it adds this whole new, like, cute, benign, airy, light, catty meaning to it, and it's great. Vulgar, lacking in erudition, pure ghetto. Your choice of words is very revealing, my friend, very revealing. So linguistic prescriptivism is an opinion, a concept in linguistics, which aims to have basically a set rule book for language, a set of rules, a standard by which language adheres to that you do not deviate from. It prescribes how language should look, how it should sound, all of its rules, etc. And it's very concerned with, you know, keeping things straight and narrow. Other hand, language descriptivism is the study of language just how it is naturally, just how it evolves out in the wild, in communities, in different speaking groups, just totally content to sit back and watch language do its thing, mutate, evolve, change with the times, gather on new meanings like different colors swirling around in a paint bucket, and just sit and watch language evolve on its own without feeling the need to put all of these labels and rules and, you know, do this, don't do that onto language. A linguistic descriptivist would be very interested in a word like chonky and how it's come about and how it's made its way into mainstream, while a language descriptivist would probably be like, that's vulgar, that's not a real word, that's pure ghetto. And as you might imagine, something like language prescriptivism is often entangled with, yeah, ding, 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 racism and classism, you got it. Fortunately, there is no one correct use of language. I can do whatever I want with it. It's like Lego pieces that I can choose to build into something new and magnificent. I can strip pieces of Lego off of other structures and also get new things as well. I had to change the memory card, but we're back. What was I saying? There's no one correct use of language. Take my cat, Grendel, for example, one of my cats. When was the last time you called your animal companion by their vet certified name? Here's what I call Grendel now. Way more than just Grendel. Gren, Granny, Greedo, Gweeb, Gweebo, Gweepy, Gweema, Schleem, Squab, and Squabo. If I call it like Squabo at dinner time and have someone over at my house being like, is your cat's name not Grendel? I'm gonna be like, yeah, his name is Grendel, but I call him Squabo. And they're gonna be like, why do you call him Squabo? And I'm gonna be like, I don't know, it just feels right. Everyone has their own private language for pretty much like everything in their life, and it's so special. Initially, I was thinking about recommending a Shakespeare for this comment because, you know, most sources say a conservative estimate, that he created or added around 1,700 new words to the English language. And that being said, every word is made up. Chunky was a word that was made up, and, you know, chonky as well. They're the same thing. However, because there is a book that very much does deal with nonsense language, and also because this world, so to speak, features a cat, I thought I could not recommend this book. And I'm talking about Through the Looking Glass, Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass. Through the Looking Glass is the sequel to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and in this one she is literally like going through her mirror. She's going through her looking glass. And in this world, in the looking glass world, everything is in reverse, like everything is mirrored. So things mean the opposite. Through the Looking Glass is also where we get the beautiful, wonderful, fun, crazy, weird, wacky poem, The Jabberwocky, which is just like a delight of language. He's playing games with language. He's creating nonce words, which are basically words that are just invented right then and there, created by the author in this case for one particular situation, and they don't really have context outside of that particular usage. Like, for example, well, no, some of them do now, and that's kind of my point, because Lewis Carroll uses the word galumphing in The Jabberwocky, and galumphing is now a word. People over the years associated it with different things, started using it in their day-to-day, and now it's a word that is in use. This is just an analysis, I think, from Wikipedia, but I'm like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's exactly what I'm saying. Carroll's linguistic games parody the incoherence of real-world institutions and social structures. Like its predecessor, the book has legalistic elements that convey how systems of order can appear structured but remain completely arbitrary. For the commenter, maybe take a good long hard look in your own looking glass and reconsider your language ideology. That being said, though, if you do want to read chonky, okay, not chunky, they're chonky. If you do want to read chonky books with us this year, you can join Game of Tomes, our book club where we read big, chonky books. I only have one more comment for you. I really don't know what video this was left on at all or what I did to arouse such ire, but someone just said, go to hell. Someone just wrote, go to hell. Look around you. Look around you. We're on the threshold of hell right now. Have you seen? We're busy making a hell of heaven right now. So I feel like there's only really one. If we're going hell, it has to be Dante's Inferno. Yeah, this is the one I will recommend to you. I read this years ago. I actually found it quite funny. This is the story of Dante, who is our main character we're following in the book, and he descends into the 9 circles of hell with the help of the Roman poet Virgil. Crazy stuff. He goes down there, he sees what's up, he's like, wow, people down here have committed some serious crimes. They're suffering for their crimes. Hell is described in here as the realm of those who have rejected spiritual values by yielding to bestial appetites or violence, or by perverting their human intellect to fraud or malice, or leaving awful YouTube comments against their fellow men. Yeah, I know, crazy, in the text. If we take go to hell in the context of the Divine Comedy, or in this case, just Inferno even, it's actually kind of a good thing. It's actually kind of a good thing. So thanks. Because in the Inferno, Dante goes down to hell and he actually has a little bit of a spiritual refresher. He reemerges from hell as a new person with a new outlook, having learned a lesson, and spiritually he is all the more fortified by his trip to hell because he's like, you know what? I see now the consequence of sin. I see where sin leads. And before I was a little bit, worried or not really wholly agreeing with the punishments that these people were receiving for their crimes, but after going down to hell, he's like, you know what, hell yeah, those people deserve it. I do recommend this. It's not as daunting as it seems. It's not as daunting. Thanks for the comments, guys. To my fellow content creators, or just anyone who's receiving, I don't know, any kind of hateful or hurtful comment, and you don't want to let it get to you. I don't know what my method is. I think my big one is just like zooming out and out and out and out, like going from where I am to my country, the planet, and just keep going and realize how stupid and insignificant I am. We all are, and how literally none of it matters at all. Nihilism, baby. I think it does wonders. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you got some good recommendations, and hopefully I won't see you for another 3 years with this kind of video. And I do want to say thank you for literally the 99.9% of just wonderful, nice, wholesome, interesting, cool, beautiful comments that I get pretty much all of the time. Definitely outweighs the bad. Ciao.